Today, Precarious plays
Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. There's something I've been thinking about a lot recently. And it is sort of related to Metroid some of the time. I mean, I guess it's pretty related to Metroid because of who Samus is.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about sexiness. Not just in games, but also just like pop culture in general.
Yeah.
I was doing an illustration recently. To make a long story short, I was doing an illustration. It was just a fun one. I was drawing a Pokemon trainer, right? And it was, I think her name is Lyra from the Sun and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay.
And I noticed a weird little detail when I was working on the colors for her, where there was like a very deliberate... Okay, so let me just explain something about like the Pokemon art style very briefly. So in general, there are only like... Oftentimes there are only 3 tiers of color, right? There is like the base color, and then there's a shade color, and then there's a highlight. So you're not really working oftentimes with very much in the way of gradients, yeah?
Okay.
So anything that you use, anytime you use one of those 3 colors, it's to achieve a very specific purpose, right? And the artist used one of those part of that very limited palette to add like a little shine to the character's legs, right? And didn't do that anywhere else on the character, like anywhere else on their skin, right? And it gives you the distinct impression that it is inappropriately horny, to be blunt, right?
Yeah.
Just because it casts a seemingly very deliberate focus on the thigh zone, you know? And she's a kid.
Yeah. How old is she? Like canon-wise?
It's nebulous because I think that canonically they are younger in Japan than they are in America. So my instinct is to say like 10 or 11, but you're splitting hairs really at that point. It doesn't really matter.
It's just like too young is the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've just been thinking about that concept in more general terms. And
have you seen those pageant kids?
Yeah.
That's fully off the deep end of that's real gross.
Yeah, one thing that I want to make clear is I don't think that the artist was doing anything criminal or malicious whenever they made that decision. I just don't think that they thought through the implications.
Yeah, because like if you get to drawing in a certain art style and that art style is anime and like
and
there's a certain like slick
just
hotness to most anime,
right? And everybody there, I mean, to be blunt, everybody is kind of what's the word? Infantilized. Infantilized. The emphasis helps. Thank you. Infantilized.
Think Fanta.
Yeah.
And now you'll never be able to drink that soda again.
So if you... Oh, can I do a double? Maybe, but I'm just gonna move on. So everybody, they have like those big baby eyes.
Yeah.
In a lot of anime.
Yeah.
Even if they are done in a more, even if they have an adult's proportions otherwise. So this is not like an indictment of that artist's character or anything. It's just curious to me. It's an oddity, and it's relevant here because Samus, under her power armor, is a pretty lady, and I think that leaves a lot of people that have worked on the franchise not quite sure what to do, how to handle that. There's something more specific. So one thing that irks me personally is is that a Metroid? Yeah.
It's funny looking.
Yeah. Don't like your ghost hat. I need you to be on Lightfire, please. So... what am I trying to say? What is happening below us?
No, nothing. Just back away.
Yeah, okay.
Nothing is happening.
I thought that we were on a mountain, but have we been in the sky? Were we in the sky in the light world? I'm losing energy.
Don't worry about it.
Take a second to think about this. So the point that I'm trying to get at is that I would not want to live in a world where there are fewer characters for me to find attractive personally, because I'm a selfish, bad man. What I would like to see, and what I would much prefer, is just a world where media lets everyone be so indulged in that way, So don't objectify women less, objectify men more. That's the crutch of my argument here, and I've been thinking about why that isn't the case, right? And here's what I've landed on. I think that part of the problem is that a lot of feminine, common tropes of like feminine sexuality and sexiness, let's say, to be a little more specific. A sexy lady is somebody that looks good, and oftentimes a sexy man is somebody who does something. Because whenever I think about like a sexy man trope, it's like the calendar with like the buff guy that's vacuuming.
Yeah, the buff dudes doing house chores.
Yeah, or like reading a book in one hand, and then it's like cradling a baby in the other, and then there will be a caption that's like, taken over from mom to give her an afternoon off.
And he's shirtless.
Right.
Yeah.
It's always...
I can't complain of those.
Well, I can, because I think it's a little ridiculous where it's like, there's this action focus where it's like, it's always two-pronged,
Yeah.
Because oftentimes it's like, I'm trying to think of an example where that isn't the case, and sometimes it's like increasingly I see like some more fan servicey stuff in games that's a little more even-handed.
Yeah.
Like there's an example that I can think of from Steam, right?
Yeah.
There's a game that a couple of people have recommended to me because I like, I'm a fan of, well, I was a fan of Fire Emblem. For a long time, and they're like, hey, there's this game, I can't remember its title right now, which is not going to be helpful. Bale can put it up on the screen, so I'll figure it out and pass that along later. But I've ignored it because it looked a little bit like it captured, it took the wrong notes. That's my estimation of it, and maybe that's not fair of me, But, you know, I don't have infinity resources and infinity time, and I've been burned by too many games in this exact franchise that it seems to be aping, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, I can't tell you the last time I enjoyed a new Fire Emblem game. Like, it might have, the last time I think I really enjoyed a Fire Emblem game, it might have been on the GameCube. You know, because I don't even know if I liked Path of Radiance that much. But that game, I felt retroactively justified whenever I saw that they did an update, and the big selling point of the update was like swimsuits for everybody. And on the one hand, I'm like, okay, so it was tacky after all, right?
Yeah, it would not have been for me.
But I do have to commend them for at least as far as like the Steam store page banner, it does have a very petite anime babe with a couple of melons duct taped to the front.
An itsy bitsy teeny weeny tiny polka dot bikini situation.
Yeah, like it has a pretty lady that has very improbably large chest, and a handsome, mostly naked boy in swim trunks.
Okay.
So it did at least be like, if you want a masculine look, here's that. If you want a feminine look, here's that. We covered, I mean, you know, like twice as many bases as is often covered. I can't go this way yet. Well, bye. I guess this is where my adventure ends. Hello, Purple Void.
I said no.
I'm just hanging out. Hanging out with Purple Void.
No.
You're not the boss of me, Mom. You can't tell me who I can and can't hang out with. If I want to hang out with Purple Void is cool.